Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the mini podcast, Monday Motivation, brought to you by Dominate Your Day. I started Monday Motivation as a space for episodes to share inspiring ideas and thoughts for leaders in the workplace. As a former corporate leader, I know what it feels like just to need a little boost of inspiration each week. So, this week we are talking about communication and we are talking about how to build high performing teams. And one of the things as a coach, as a leader, I want you to think about are you coaching your way to a productive team? So ask yourself, are you a leader who coaches or are you a leader who directs? This is a good question to kind of ask yourself in the moment. Ask yourself, am I directing people to what I want them to do or am I guiding them? And think about it this way. I love to use the metaphor of someone teaching a student to drive. It might be your student or it might be a friend or family member. You're not doing the driving, you're sitting in the passenger seat and you're asking questions and you're guiding them and you're encouraging them. That's what a leader is. The leader is not on the football field playing the game. The leader is the coach on the sidelines. And that's another thing I like to ask myself a lot. Are you trying to play the game? Or are you on the sidelines, encouraging them, giving them the numbers, giving them the stats? I think about my daughter who was a cross-country runner, and she had this fabulous coach, and he worked with her and the team every day. It always felt like he was working with just her, but he was working also with the team. He took time to study their numbers, study their stats, work with them on their training. And every time a race came up, he had a specific message for each of them. And during the race, he encouraged them, whether they won or lost, he was right there encouraging them. And they came in second in state. It was amazing. So one of the things I learned from him was just personalizing the message and being that coach, not directing. And so when you think about this saying, everyone needs a coach, is true. But even more impactful is everyone needs a leader who coaches. So one leader who stands out to me when I think back of people I've worked with or my clients is a gal named Sarah. So the past 5 years, she has been advancing in her career as a small founder-led company. She has been a leader working her way up. Her leadership style primarily revolved around directing her team because she had no experience on what she was supposed to be doing as a leader. She just kind of moved her way up because she did such a great job. And so the concept of coaching had never crossed her path until she participated in a Leader as Coach training program that we did. And during this training, you could see the light bulb go off with Sarah. She had this epiphany. She realized that her team didn't need a boss. They needed a coach. I could tell she was determined to make a change. And she really intentionally began incorporating practices she learned from the training into her leadership approach. I saw this at work, but I also, when we would meet later, she would tell me about things she was doing at home with her teenagers. And it helped her kind of coach them as well. So it was kind of cool to watch her as a busy mother, leader, and how she was using this new approach to help people do their best and not be codependent with them, not be controlling, not be directive. And it was just fun to watch Sarah grow intentionally. And she started to master the art of asking questions and fostering meaningful conversations. She also embraced the challenge of reassigning her leadership style and just deciding that she was going to be different. And as her founder gradually saw her growing, he started delegating more and more responsibilities to Sarah. And she found herself liberated to guide her team without getting bogged down in the minutia. And I think this is the hardest transition that leaders make when they've moved from doing the work to guiding the work. And so I love that analogy and metaphor of being in the passenger seat, because then they're not doing the work, they're guiding the work. And she realized this shift led to increased productivity and actually transformed her team into this amazing high-performing group. Sarah's now positioned to become the next chief operating officer of this company, and I couldn't be more thrilled to watch her as she's grown. So, tailoring your performance management to each individual is crucial, and employees seek leaders who guide them towards excellence in their purpose, their development, their strengths, and their conversations and their overall fulfillment. And I love this quote. If you haven't followed me long, you probably don't know I love quotes, but I love quotes that are inspirational. And this one came from John Quincy Adams. And he said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. And so, one of the action items for this week that I want you to think about as a leader to cultivate a high performing team is deliberately evaluate whether you're assuming the role of boss or coach, and ask yourself, are you predominantly instructing as a boss would rather than inquiring? Is your listening geared towards responding like a boss, the old school boss would, or are you comprehending as a coach would? And then do you prioritize task completion like a boss would, or are you considering the individual's well-being like a coach would? So if you want to make a positive impact on your team, feel free to set up a 15-minute call with me, and I'm happy to help you and walk you through how you can do that. And if you want to enhance your team's engagement and productivity, we've got this amazing product called the Strengths Journal, which is a framework to help you live in your strengths every day and manage your well-being weekly. And you can find both of those at danawilliamsco.com. So quickly, before we finish, most listeners don't yet follow the podcast. Every additional follower we get helps us to raise the profile of the podcast and bring you more episodes. So if you can do one thing for us today, then please hit the follow button and get updated whenever we put new content live. But if you can do a second thing for us today, could you share this podcast with a friend? Thanks for listening, and tune in next time. Bye. We'll see you next week.